Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. First of all, I must welcome the worthy panelists, especially Mr. Davidson, who has flown all the way from Germany to be with us today and to speak on a subject which is, of course, very close to our hearts. And there are certain issues which we normally ignore and we go according to what is written in the mainstream media. But with people like Mr. Davidson and others who are here, definitely we would hope to provide a new or a fresh insight into the various activities which have been going on. I'm also very grateful to the audience who took time out to be with us today. We have former ambassadors, former foreign secretaries with us. The Indian false flag operations is a subject which very few people really have considered, I think, in Pakistan. We tend to go by what the media is saying, and our first reaction is always to blame ourselves, some or the other. This is in our psyche. And later on we discover that no, we had not done it, somebody else did it. So this is something which we must approach from a neutral angle also, and to see what are the benefits of doing such things for which we are blamed. I will start off with the fact about false flag operations. What is really a false flag operation? This is a terminology which is used very commonly nowadays. The persons belonging to the armed forces, diplomatic community, media, etc. are familiar with this term. But for those who are not in the loop of these terminologies, the false flag operation is a covert operation designed to deceive. The deception creates the appearance of a particular party, group, or nation being responsible for some activity, disguising the actual source of responsibility. While false flag operations have probably existed for centuries, their appearances in the dictionaries is limited. The Oxford English Dictionary traces false flag to 1569, though its first citation is a figurative use, a deliberate misrepresentation of someone's affiliations or motives, something used deliberately to misrepresent in this way. Its first citation of the maritime meaning, a flag used to disguise a ship by misrepresenting its nationality, allegiance, intent, etc., is from 1824, though it was in use much earlier. In the contemporary era, this term extends beyond naval encounters to include countries that organize attacks on themselves and make the attacks appear as if the enemy state has done it, or terrorists, thus giving the impression that the nation was supposedly attacked for a pretext other than what is actually the fact. False flag operations are designed to deceive about the perpetrators. They may be used as a stand-alone casus belli or part of a long-term strategy of tension. Coming on to the Indian false flag operations in particular. Ladies and gentlemen, India, with an aim of maligning Pakistan's reputation in the international arena, has never spared a moment from blaming Pakistan over flimsy grounds. From the unrest in New Delhi to the chaos in Karnataka, Pakistan has been held responsible for every incident of restlessness in India. India not only accuses Pakistan but also persuades other international players to think likewise. However, whenever evidence is demanded from India, the Indian government has always failed to produce any substantial evidence in front of international statutory bodies. The majority of those agendas to accuse Pakistan in the heinous activities were proven wrong through investigations carried out by their own agencies also. Today, I am only going to cover those operations which were exposed basically by their own agencies. First of all, I will start from the Ganga airplane hijacking, which some of you probably would not have been born at that time, but we remember. We have senior diplomats here who remember this operation. The research reveals that on January 30th, 1971, the Indian agency RAW had conducted a false flag operation by making its operatives to hijack a Fokker friendship aircraft by the name of Ganga from India to Lahore. The Indian government had immediately said that Kashmiri freedom fighters, Hashim Qureshi and Ashraf Butt, were behind the hijacking. It had disallowed Pakistani aircraft from using its airspace forthwith. Pakistani planes could no longer fly to East Pakistan, now Bangladesh. On February the 1st, the passengers and crew of Ganga were released in Lahore and the aircraft was burnt. Interestingly, this particular aircraft had already been withdrawn from service in India, but was re-inducted a few days before the hijacking by the Indian Airlines. The events that followed showed that the purpose behind the false flag operations was to cut off east-west air flights of Pakistan so as to give a free hand to Mujibur Rahman and his cronies to speed up their secession plan and create Bangladesh. This overflight ban in the run-up to the December 71 war later had a significant impact on troop movement into erstwhile East Pakistan. East Pakistan thus remained cut off from West Pakistan till the very end of the war. Then we come on to the Chittisinghpura massacre in 2000. On 20th March 2000, more than 35 Sikhs were killed in a mass shooting incident in Anantnag district of Jammu and Kashmir. This day is still considered as a day of annihilation and bloodbath for the Sikh community of Chittisinghpura. Initially, the Indian authorities accused a terrorist outfit called Lashkar-e-Taiba and blamed Pakistan for carrying out this attack on the Sikh community of Kashmir. A person named Sohail Malik was accused of executing this act of mass killing. But later on, the Delhi court itself, it absolved him of these charges. However, credibility of several renowned news agencies like the New York Times was also challenged when they attributed the carnage to Lashkar-e-Taiba. Dismissal of the case by the Delhi court and the coordinated hoax confections by the news agencies was a confirmation that this massacre was a false flag operation blamed on Pakistan to defame the country in the international arena. In 2017, a retired Lieutenant General K.S. Gill, who was part of the investigation, in an interview to Sikh News Express told journalist Jasneet Singh that the Indian Army was involved in the massacre and the report had been submitted to L.K. Advani, who was the Home Minister in the National Democratic Alliance government then. Another intriguing element which was that this incident took place just before the first visit of Bill Clinton to Pakistan and India. After this visit was being conducted after 22 years. However, the findings of Madeleine Albright, we all know who she is, a known politician and diplomat of USA. She indicated in a book titled The Mighty and the Almighty Reflections on America, God and World Affairs, which came out in 2006, that Hindu extremists were behind this monstrous plot. In addition, Bill Clinton's office condemned this incident but also rejected the claim of the Indian authorities that this attack was carried out by Pakistani Islamist groups. Then we come on to the hijacking of Flight 814. Indian Airlines Flight 814, commonly known as IC-814, was an Indian Airlines Airbus A300 en route from the international airport in Kathmandu to Indira Gandhi International Airport in Delhi. On Friday 24th, 1999, when it was hijacked and flown to several locations before landing in Kandahar, Afghanistan, and Harkatul Mujahideen was accused of the hijacking, so-called with the support of the ISI, The aircraft was hijacked by gunmen shortly after it entered Indian airspace at about 17:30 hours, ordered the aircraft to be flown to several locations. After touching down in Amritsar and Dubai, the hijackers finally forced the aircraft to land in Kandahar, which at the time was controlled by the Taliban. The hijackers released 27 of the 176 passengers in Dubai, but fatally stabbed one and wounded several others. Facing sharp criticism of the government's decision to negotiate with the hijackers, Prime Minister Atal Bihari Vajpayee accused Pakistan of being behind the incident and called on major nations, including the US, to declare Pakistan a terrorist state. This episode was meant to portray Pakistan as a supporter of terrorism and India as a victim. Pakistani officials have said that the government had no role in the hijacking and have suggested that India engineered the hijackings to discredit Pakistan. The Prime Minister's statement laying blame for the hijacking at Pakistan's door was a further escalation by Jaswant Singh, the Indian Foreign Minister, who insisted that India had proof, but when he was asked for proof, Mr. Singh did not offer any. The famous or the infamous 2001 Indian Parliament attack. The 2000 Indian Parliament attack was a terrorist attack on the Parliament of India in New Delhi on 13th December 2001. The perpetrators were said to be members of Lashkar-e-Taiba and Jaish-e-Mohammed, which were operating from Pakistani soil. The attack led to the deaths of total 14 people as per the media and to increased tensions between India and Pakistan, resulting in the standoff in 2001 and 2002. The 2001 attack on Indian Parliament was mentioned by the India Today, their periodical, as yet another national security blunder. Satish Verma, a part of the Central Board of Investigation SIT probe team, said that the 2001 attack on the Indian Parliament and the 2008 Mumbai attacks was set up with the objective of strengthening the counter-terrorism legislation of India. The media failed to do what they ought to have even after the High Court verdict: investigate police claims and revisit the case they had not yet examined, says Sukumar Muralidharan from the International Federation of Journalists. It had asserted the attack on Parliament was reality television at its horrific best, as December 13, 2001 saw an audacious terror attack on Parliament which the intelligence agencies had no clue about. Both the Delhi High Court and the Supreme Court of India have noted that the police violated legal safeguards, fabricated evidence, and extracted false confessions. This was said by Arundhati Roy in her book, The Hanging of Afzal Guru and the Strange Case of the Attack on the Indian Parliament. Afzal Guru was used as a scapegoat by Indian agencies in their orchestrated terror plan, whereas he wasn't provided a lawyer at the crucial stage of his trial. The special cell of the Delhi police, which was placed in charge of investigating the case, used the media to brand Mr. Guru as guilty even before the trial. The Delhi High Court acknowledged that the investigating agency fabricated evidence against the accused, yet they upheld the verdict. Mr. Guru's trial does not meet the international standards for a fair trial. He was denied due process, legal counsel, and the presumption of innocent until proven guilty. The 2001 Jammu and Kashmir Legislative Assembly car bombing. On Monday, the 1st October 2001, Indian government allegedly, they stated that 3 militants belonging to the Jaish-e-Mohammed carried out an attack on the Jammu and Kashmir State Legislative Assembly in Srinagar using a truck loaded with explosives, ramming it into the main gate with 3 suicide bombers. 38 people and 3 Fedayeen were killed in the attack. Whether it was a mere coincidence or a pre-planned execution, that no lawmaker was killed and many senior leaders had already left the building. The military camp, which was attacked in occupied Kashmir 2006. In September 2016, just a day before the then Pakistani Prime Minister, Mr. Nawaz Sharif, was gearing up to address the United Nations General Assembly and apprise the world of the Indian atrocities in held Kashmir, those at the helm of affairs in New Delhi had yet again accused Pakistan of attacking a military camp in occupied Kashmir without any substantial proof. India had actually wanted to dilute the effects of Nawaz Sharif's speech at the UN, and India keeps on spelling out this incident, and the timing of airing such concocted and fabricated fairy tales is extremely significant. Then we come on to the famous Samjhauta Express, the blasts. The Hindu extremists carried out the 2007 false flag operations on the Samjhauta Express, which was previously blamed on Muslim groups. Local reports said, citing police interrogation of an accused suspect. Reports said that Kamal Chauhan, a disgruntled worker of the Hindu revivalist RSS, was arrested on Sunday by the National Intelligence Agency from Noida near Delhi. According to the NIA, Mr. Chauhan had planted the bombs on board the Samjhauta Express after undergoing training in arms and explosives in Haryana and Madhya Pradesh. Hemant Karkare, who is now quite famous, had carried out the inquiry into this Samjhauta Express attack. He had identified that the Hindutva organizations were responsible for terrorism in India and had already made many political commentators call it Hindutva terror or the saffron terror. Opposition parties, including the BJP and Shiv Sena, had accused that the arrests were made under the pressure of the incumbent government in an attempt to appease India's Muslim population. Hemant Karkare, as you very well know, was killed in the Mumbai attacks, whereas his killer was also part of the perpetration of the Mumbai attack, and he was speaking Marathi, witnessed by people present at the moment. More would be said later by the other speakers. Pakistan has urged India to share the findings of investigations into the Samjhauta train blasts, but they have not done so. Media reports say that Swami Asimanand, a leader of the Hindu extremist outfit group RSS, confessed before a judicial magistrate that he and his fellow RSS activists were involved in the blast on the Samjhauta Express at mosques in Malegaon in Maharashtra and Andhra Pradesh state capital, Hyderabad, and a Muslim shrine in Ajmer in Rajasthan. According to credible sources, Mrs. Karkare earlier denied the involvement of Hindus in her husband's death since she was afraid of the Hindu RSS. On the conditions of anonymity, her close friend said that Mrs. Karkare had received threats from the RSS just before the Bombay attack. Colonel Purohit in the Indian Supreme Court confessed to carrying out this operation. He was a serving colonel. He confessed to training the Hindu extremists also to cause an armed conflict between India and Pakistan. He stated that his job required interacting with both Hindu and Muslim extremists. The statement openly reflects the mentality of the Indian Army and the government. It also shows that owing to the historic anti-Pakistan posture of India in general and the Hindutva approach of the BJP government specifically, India used this as a tool to construct propaganda against Pakistan. A few other incidents: the bombing of the Mecca Mosque in Hyderabad, Deccan. The Mecca Masjid bombing occurred in 2007, 18th May. Inside the Mecca Masjid, a mosque in Hyderabad, 14 people were reported dead in this incident. The NIA, CBI and the Anti-Terrorist Squad India questioned former members of the RSS. Again, Mr. Swami Asimanand confessed that this attack was carried out by these people. According to India's Tehelka magazine, which has obtained a copy of his 42-page confession, He told his interrogators that the attacks on Muslim places in India were in response to attacks by Islamists, so-called Islamist militants in India. It quotes him as saying that many of those involved in the bombings were members of the RSS, the right-wing parent organization of the BJP, which is currently in power. The NIA officer in charge of the case, Pradeepa Ambedkar, was abruptly removed 2 weeks ago once he started going into the details. The blast in the Malagaon Mosque, 2008, again, they initially blamed these blasts on the students of the Islamic movement of India, accusing Pakistan of being behind them. But a charge sheet filed in 2013 put the blame on the Hindu extremist group Abhinav Bharat. On 25th April 2016, the court found that the initial ATS charges were fabricated, and they released the 9 Muslims who had been arrested previously. Then, of course, we have the Mumbai attacks. We have Mr. Davidson, who would be telling us about this. Then we have the Ahmedabad bombing, the Pathankot incident. All these were false flag operations. Later on, no evidence was found, and it was found that it was a case of religious extremism and Hindu-Muslim communal violence. Then we have the attack on the Sri Lankan national cricket team. This attack took place, as you all know, in Lahore, when a bus loaded with the Sri Lankan players, they were going to the stadium. In this, I do not need any proof of the Indian involvement. The reason being, I was in a conference in Bangkok, and I was approached by the Sri Lankan chief of police, who was also attending. He's retired now, but he's living in Colombo. You can ask him. He took me aside and he asked me, General, do you know what happened to our team? I said, yes, this happened, that happened. He said, no. The Indians, he said, had approached him and told him that please do not send your team to Pakistan, because we want to isolate Pakistan in sports. And if you send your team, you will be responsible. This is exactly what I was told by the chief of police of Sri Lanka at that time. And then, of course, you know what happened, so I will not go into the details. Irrespective of other statements which may have come out, the Pathankot Air Base incident in the Indian Punjab, again, without any proof, Pakistan was blamed. And they have failed to give any proof of the Pathankot incident also. Within hours, an internal probe actually had thrown an egg on the Indian government's face in 2016. As Zee News had reported, the Director General of the Indian National Investigation Agency, Sharad Kumar, said that there was no evidence to indicate the direct complicity of the Pakistani government or the Pakistani agencies in the Pathankot attack. Then we come on to the Uri attack of 2016. As you know, 4 heavily armed militants on 18 September 2016 near the town of Uri, they carried out this attack. On this attack, there was a video also, which has now been taken out of YouTube, and there was a conversation in that video in which 2 people were talking, and they said that we planned the Uri attack, but nothing happened. So we have to now plan an attack in which more people have to be killed. This video has been taken out. A lot of you must have seen it on WhatsApp also. And that is probably what led to the Pulwama attack, because they wanted to kill more people, create more problems, create more ripples. I will straight away move on to the Pulwama attack, but I will not say much about it because all of you are very well aware. This is very recent, but there are a few questions. Okay, there are a few questions. First of all, how could 350 kilograms of explosive in a car be undetected? Number 2, how come a very heavily protected convoy in Kashmir, how did they allow this car to come so near? Where are the body parts of the attacker? No head was shown, no body parts was shown. How come that this happened to a convoy and the people killed were mostly Sikhs, by the way? So there are many other questions also, and I will not go into the detail because of the shortage of time. You all know what are those questions which are being asked. There are many other incidents also which are very suspicious, but I have deliberately omitted them because I was only talking about the incidents which I am sure were false flag operations. So, gentlemen, thank you very much.